Hello and welcome back to another episode of me reading my mission journal that I kept while I was a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I served a 2-year mission in Hawaii, and this is a series I'm doing where I'm reading my mission journal. And I'm going to just start off where I left off in the last episode. Saturday, the 28th of February, 2004. Partly clear, it rained a few times today. Fair wind, warm. We were at the stake center at 9:30 to prepare for the baptism of Gabriella. The baptism was supposed to start at 11, but the brother doing the baptism did not show up on time, so the baptism was 45 minutes late. After the baptism, we came back to the path to change and then went tracting in the rain. We did not teach anyone. When one lady told me that she was Jewish, I almost asked her if she was a Pharisee or a Sadducee, but I did not. We met Jim at 1500 to teach the fifth discussion. On the airplane on the way to the mainland, he read all the 1st and 2nd Nephi, and his question for us is if the Catholic Church, was if the Catholic Church, in which his wife is a member of, was a great and abominable church. We managed to resolve his concern by telling him that when Nephi saw the vision, the Catholic Church did not exist, which is pretty much a cop-out. The great and abominable church in the Book of Mormon is definitely the Catholic Church. Actually, it's all churches that aren't the LDS Church, because it says there's 2 churches only, the Church of Christ and the Church of the great and abominable church. And so according to LDS doctrine, any church that is not the LDS Church is a great and abominable church. But I believe that when the Book of Mormon was written, it was more specifically to be the Catholic Church. Jim told us that he has had a problem with pornography for years, but when he read a copy of For the Strength of Youth that I gave him, he threw away all of his bad magazines, and his wife is really happy with us. He asked what he had to do to get baptized, so I told him that he had one more discussion and a baptismal interview, and then I committed him for baptism on the 14th of March. We went to the 2nd Ward Blue and Gold Arrow of Light celebration for the Astronomy's kid for dinner. After dinner, there was a cake auction to raise money for the Boy Scouts, and everyone wanted to feed us cake they brought. When we left, we were so full. We visited a few inactive people and went to the pad for district meeting prep. Earlier today, I thought it would be funny to change the combination on Elder S's briefcase, so I did. Tonight, Elder S was been out of shape about it, so I said, "It's sure good that everyone has a great sense of humor." Elder S said, "I have a damn good sense of humor, but I am living with a bunch of retards." I really don't know why, but Elder S gets ticked off very easily, and regardless of what he says, he does not have a sense of humor. He seems to like to swear a lot too. Sunday, the 29th of February, 2004. Clear, partly it rained 2 or 3 times today, light wind. I was happy in PEC this morning because when I introduced the 6-step program, the bishop got everyone to sign up. Church was really good. The main speaker was a recently returned 1-year sister missionary who served in St. Petersburg Mission. Her talk was really good. Brother O did a good job teaching gospel principles. When he talked about the 3 degrees of glory, he said, "For you military people, I'll describe it in a different way. Be all that you can be is the celestial kingdom, aim high is the terrestrial kingdom, and the few and the proud goes to the celestial." So Jim asked, "So who is the outer darkness, the Coast Guard?" The 3rd block combined meeting was also very good. The Relief Society president, Young Women's president, and primary president spoke. In the Italian branch, I confirmed Chavez, Gabriella's brother. He was baptized when she was, but is a child of record. Elder S confirmed Gabriella. I did not have a hard time staying awake. Perhaps it was because I did not get up until 6 this morning. On our way to the S family child of record baptism, Elder S asked me to drive so that he could prepare his talk. He is such a bad procrastinator. I felt so dumb at the baptism because I saw a string floating in the water and thought that that I would yank it out. The only problem is it was connected to the plug. That's right, I pulled the plug in the baptism about 10 minutes before the baptism. I almost had to take a swim putting the plug back in, but luckily I got it back in on time. Now the reason that I felt dumb is because at the baptism we had yesterday, I tied the string on the plug so that no one would have to swim to pull it after the baptism. The baptism went well, even though the S family's kid pulled the plug and Brother S had to almost swim to plug it back in before the baptism could be performed. For the intermission, I read a couple of poems. We had dinner with Lisa and her family, and we tried to teach the non-member husband, but he would not let us. He was pretty cool, and he knows so much about the church that I don't know why he is not a member. Before we left, they made us take food home with us. When we got home, I got pretty ticked because I found out that Elder S wiped his dirty, rotten, vile, filthy, nasty, beyond words butt on my hand towel. I wanted to beat him upside the head with Elder S's wooden lightsaber, but I decided that I would not be Christ-like, so I did not want to go home over a towel, so I let it go for now. And I also let it go because I suspect him of lying about it. He likely wiped something else up with it and just said that he wiped off. Monday, the first day of March 2004. Mostly clear, but it rained lightly a few times today, light wind, hot. We all went to the laundry at 0500 like usual. I told Elder S that he had better wash my towel. He got mad and said, "Okay, if you're going to get so anal about it." I did not say anything, but thought about telling him that he can't expect me to act like anything else when he tells me that he wiped off on my towel. If you tell someone something like that, you'd better expect them to get mad because they will. I wrote letters to Heidi, to my sister Jane, to Mom, to Brett, the B family, my Aunt Rhonda. I received a small package from Mom in which she enclosed candy and address labels for me. Elder P and I cleaned this morning. The other elders did not. Most of the day we sat at the pad, and part of the time I worked on my model of the USS Arizona. We went bowling for a while with Elder D, Elder T, Elder G, etc. I did not get a very high score, only 99. When we got back to the pad, I saw that Elder S had not cleaned the kitchen like he was supposed to, so I made a comment about it, to which Elder S responded, Don't clean it. You're not going to clean it and say that I did not do it in my job. I don't want any of that crap." I really don't know why Elder S has been so ticked off lately, but I guess that it would help if I would be a little more Christ-like to people when they are lazy and don't fulfill their duty. But at the same time, I am extremely tired of taking up the slack because people don't pull their own weight. And I cannot stand by when there is things to be done. It is too much to ask. Is it too much to ask that people do what they have committed to do? At 1700, Elder S, my companion, not the Elder S I was having the issues with, and I taught Jim the sixth discussion. He had a few questions, but we were able to show him the scriptures and he was down with it. We went home about 1900 for Tongan study and district meeting prep. Tuesday, the second day of March 2004. It rained very hard all night, last night, and a few times lightly today. Part to mostly cloudy, light wind. This morning we had an appointment to do a 6-step program with Brother R at 10, but when we got there he told us that he did not know anyone who is not a member, so he talked with him for a while and then went on base. We visited the F family for a little while and then went to the pad for lunch. I received a letter from Kayleen, which made me happy. I have not heard from her for almost 6 months. After lunch, we studied Tongan and then went tracting. We did not have much success. One old lady agreed to let us teach her, and then halfway through the first discussion, she told us she did not want to learn anymore. Tracting isn't always effective, but it does work. A lot of missionaries tell us that tracting does not work, but Jim is a proof that it does because he was found tracting. After tracting, we tried to visit inactive families. We were supposed to meet a Tongan family at the church at 1800, but they did not show up, so we did not have dinner. We had to leave around 1900 to meet the bishop and Brother H for a team-up. Elder S and the bishop went on base. I did a 6-step with the D family and got a solid referral. Brother H and I visited, or actually just tried to visit a few families. Everyone we would go to see would tell us that it was their bedtime. No one told us to wait. One man told us to wait and he would be right back. After 15 minutes of waiting for him, we decided that he wasn't coming back. We went to Brother H's house and I called around trying to find a team up to go to Jamie's tomorrow. Brother H gave me ice cream. When we met back at the bishop's house, the bishop gave us ice cream. I called around trying to find a team up, and I called Jamie, and she told me that she had to cancel because of a job interview. When we got home, there was a message from Jim telling us that he flipped a coin in the car to see which one of his baptism, and the coin stuck on its side, so he did it again, only this time it landed on tails, so Elder S will baptize him. I wanted to baptize him, but I am not upset or disappointed that he picked Elder S instead. Earlier today, we visited the H family, and Brother H told us that when he visited the W family, they were upset because Jim is getting baptized at the same time, and they wanted to move one of the baptisms. But their daughter, who is getting baptized, said, "I think he should get baptized with me because no one knows him, and he will feel bad if no one comes to his baptism. If he is at mine, a lot of people will come, and he will have a good baptism." When she said that, it pretty much changed her mother's opinion. Brother W never did care if Jim was baptized at the same time. Wednesday, the 3rd day of March, 2004. Mostly cloudy, light rain. A few times today, very light, little wind, warm. At around 0900 until 1100, we were helping a member of Elder S's ward to move. Elder D and Elder L helped. Elder S, Elder P, the other Elder S and I were there too. We were a little late to district meeting today. Elder S said that he is about out of wrestling stories, which made me happy. I am so tired of wrestling stories in district meeting, but not so as tired as I am of basketball stories. I have heard almost enough basketball trainings to make me puke. If Elder S starts training on basketball, I will go crazy. Elder S was a wrestler in high school, so he is always talking about it. He is also a Star Wars fan and talks about it a lot and tries to talk like Yoda. After district meeting, we went to the home of a family who we helped move because they bought us pizza. Only those who helped with the service came for pizza. After lunch, we dropped by the pad to check for mail. The only thing that was in the address was the address labels that I ordered a long time ago. We thought it would be a good idea to visit a few old investigators. The first house we stopped at, the old investigator did not live there, but we taught the first discussion to a man who was there visiting friends. Turns out his girlfriend is going to the singles ward, and he went with her. He told us he has always wanted to read the Book of Mormon. We will give him to the zone leaders because they cover the singles ward. The rest of the old investigators we visited did not turn out as well as the first. We were supposed to be at the Tongan branch president's home for dinner at 1800, but when we got there, some of his family told us to meet him at the church. On the way to the church, the president's wife honked at us. I tried to go back where she was, but to circle the block to do so, and when we got back, she was gone. When we saw the president at the steak center, he told us to go back to his house, so we did, and his wife fed us plate lunches. I will not miss plate lunches. We tried to see a few people on base, and then went to the pad to study Tongan. Thursday the 4th of March 2003. Mostly cloudy, light rain, light wind, warm. This morning we had zone plan in Kailua, and instead of going to visit people like usual, I helped Elder G with his certification. And during that time, he did not need my help. I read the book of Romans in the New Testament. After zone plan, Elder S and I went back to our pad for lunch. After lunch, we tried to see a few people on base. We visited with Sunny for a while and then invited her to come to church. It is usually pretty easy to get on base. Oftentimes, the guys at the pass office will give us a pass even if no one has called to sponsor us yet. Occasionally, there is a jerk at the gate who gives us a hard time, but most of the time they are nice to you. When I went and picked up Jake, one of the priests for a team-up, and went to see Nikita, something had come up and she only had about 10 minutes. So he read 3 Nephi 11 with her. It was a little distracting because she was a long way off from following the dress standards for the Strength of Youth pamphlet. The spirit is there more when the girls are properly dressed. After we read with her, we set up another appointment and took Jake home. Then we went to see Mike, but today was a bad time, so we visited old investigators and part member families instead. We had 3 6 steps set up in a row. First, the J family, second, the M family, and third, the J family. All 3 had to cancel. Actually, 2 canceled, and the J family just was not there. They went to the mainland. The Tongan family that was supposed to feed us gave us $20 each to buy food with. Tonight, I went on a team-up with Elder D, and I stayed at his pad. Friday, the 5th day of March, 2004. Clear, hot, light wind. Elder S called this morning to ask if he could use my third discussion visual. I told him that I would bring it by during breakfast. I trained in devotional this morning. After the lesson in the missionary guide, I read aloud some of President Monson's book. For breakfast, we ate raw ramen noodles. Then we went to my pad for breakfast so that I could send Elder S my visuals. And that was Elder S that wanted to borrow my visuals. Wasn't my mission companion, it was the other Elder S. Elder D and I went tracking, and we only knocked on about 6 doors because on the 6th door, one man named Henry let us in. He asked us why he is here and where he will go when he dies, and we taught him the 1st and the 5th discussion. Because he loves to talk, it took us well over an hour to teach him, but it was worth it. Because he told us that he talked to a lot of people about God and religion, but this is the first time that he really felt something. We went to the food bank and helped them for an hour and then had to leave because we had an appointment. We taught Mary the 3rd discussion, and it went really well. She's really solid and has a baptismal date set for March. We went to lunch at McDonald's at 1400, and our food was free because the manager is a member. After lunch, we visited inactive and part member families, a lot of which were pretty cool. We met at the church at 1800 and helped set up chairs and tables, and then one of the members gave us money for dinner, so we ate at Subway. We visited Brother L, the ward mission leader. He is really cool. I had heard that his wife makes ties, so I asked about it, and she gave me 2 aloha ties. So awesome. We stayed a little longer than we should, but Elder D did get to work out the details of Mary's baptism with him. We switched back companions at 21:15, so I stayed at my own pad. I received a letter from Brother and Sister V in response to one I had sent them earlier. Saturday, the 6th day of March, 2004. Clear, light wind, hot. This morning during devotional, Brother C called and asked if I could give a 5 or 7 minute talk this morning on something that will motivate the brethren. I accepted and quickly prepared. The ward flood was supposed to start at 8:30, but most people did not show up on time. All the elders in the zone showed up on time, but the members were a little slow. About 8 priesthood brethren showed up. I gave my talk, and I don't think that I did bad. Brother D and I took 3 routes on base and got a hold of almost all the people we were supposed to see. Some people were happy to see us, and others only did not run off because we had cookies for them. Elder D, Elder L, Elder S, Elder P, Elder S, and I ate lunch at the pad. Like usual, I received a letter from Mom. After lunch, we visited a few people off base, and then went on base and tried to see some old media referrals. We went to see Brother C, an inactive member on base. We watched Finding Faith in Christ, and then he brought out his knife collection. He has a great collection. We stayed a little long talking about knives and guns. We met the Tongan family that was supposed to feed us, but they gave us money instead. Each one of us was given $20. We just ate dinner at the pad. We visited Jim and gave him some cookies, and then dropped by to see Brother and Sister B for a while. They were talking about the missionary bar that had been raised, so I told them it's good that it was raised because it cuts down on the set-apart only missionaries. The Lord knows that there has been more than enough missionaries that could not care about building up the kingdom of God. When I first came out on my mission, it really surprised me how many hypocrites there are in the church, and more especially in the mission field. The 7th day of March 2004. Mostly clear, hot, light wind. Church was good today. There were actually a few good testimonies this time. I could not do it real fast because I still had to take my pills, but I did not eat until dinner. I had a very hard time staying awake in church for the Tongan branch today. At Sunday school, we taught the third discussion to Falau. At 1600, Jim came to the church for an interview, and Elder H interviewed him. It took almost an hour, but Jim passed with flying colors. We had dinner with the J family. After dinner, we went back to Kalihi to watch a video with Gabriella's sister, Kiki. The player did not like Finding Faith in Christ, so we watched Together Forever instead. Kiki agreed to let us teach her next time we came over. Kiki agreed to let us teach her next time we came over. We had night as well and week plan, etc. at 20:30. Monday, the 8th of March, 2004. Partly cloudy, cool, fair amount of wind. It rained hard last night and early this morning. During laundry, I wrote Sister F, I wrote Danielle, and I wrote my president's letter last night. I wanted to play mini golf today, but no one else wanted to play. I played a game of chess with Elder S, and I won in about 4 moves, so no one else would play chess with me. Elder S told me that he does not want to play me anymore. Today, Elder S went to see Dr. Miller for cleaning. It really got boring at the dentist's office when you can't read in magazines. I had to drive to Kaneohe to pick up the zone leaders and give them a ride to the Ford dealer to pick up their car. No one wanted to come with me, so I brought Elder L. Elder D, Elder L, Elder S, Elder P, and I went on to a member's home in the Kailua 3rd Ward and played pool on their pool table. The last time that I played pool, I was at the Idaho Pocatello Institute for Religion. I won more often than I lost. Elder S and I went to the Kailua 2nd Ward Family Home Evening. We stayed a little over an hour and then came back to the pad for Tongan study. Tuesday, the 9th day of March, 2004. Clear, warm, light wind. Elder S asked me if I could drive today because he was sick, even though this would have been his day. I'm a little sick too, but not in a way that will affect my driving. We worked on the area books for a while at the park, and then we went to base to follow up with a few members and rescheduled the 6-step program. We had lunch at the pad and then Tongan study. I really don't think that I have learned any new words this week. I don't have much motivation because not only are my days in the Tongan branch numbered, but we usually only see Tongan people on Sundays. After lunch, the zone leaders inspected our pad and we got 95%. We tried to follow up on a few people that we found tracking, but could not catch them, so we went on base to see a few people before our appointment with Sonny. Sonny had to cancel, so we visited the D family for a while. While Sister D found out that we were having dinner with the Relief Society, she invited us over for dinner. Elder S. told her we would still eat at the church. We taught Brother L. the fourth after baptism discussion and set up an appointment for the fifth. I called the D family and asked if we could come over for dinner still, and they said we could, so we ate Mexican food with them.